54 for 310 yards, a touchdown, and interception. Darren Waller led the team with 7 receptions for 76 yards. Mark, you are the only one alive the last time the Bengals won a playoff game.
This is actually true. There wasn't even texting.
I try not to lie on the show, but yeah. Your reaction to yesterday's Bengals Raiders?
I was picking a complete blowout by the Cincinnati Bengals yesterday. And when you want to say the cold had something to do with it or not, Oakland. Las Vegas came to play. Derek Carr, I was very impressed with him. However, there was nothing the Las Vegas defense could do to stop Jamar Chase. As I stated yesterday, I don't think all the water on the planet could stop Jamar Chase. The guy was everywhere. He made passes in places with little room that were just like the Manningham catch. I mean, let me tell you, hats off to Cincy. They did a great job. Joey B, as I said last year, was the great pick. And I'm throwing it to Noah.
Yeah, I know Cincinnati has been unbelievable this year. They have been the biggest surprise out of the entire league, and they've been led by Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. And it's amazing when you have an embarrassment of riches like Cincinnati has. You've got, if Chase isn't open, well, then there's T. Higgins. If it's not T. Higgins, well, then there's Tyler Boyd. If none of them are open, okay, we'll hit Joe Mixon underneath. Oh, they're not open. He's not open. All right, well, how about CJ Uzomah? He's probably out there somewhere too. They have just an embarrassment of riches as far as weapons for Joe Burrow. But I got to look at my big thing is for me is it's the defense of Cincy that has been really surprising this year, because a lot of the analysts and a lot of the fans in general, I thought Cincy's defense was going to be horrible. I thought they were just going to I thought every game for Cincy was going to be 34-31 because the defense couldn't stop anybody. And here they are, and Trey Hendrickson has 15 sacks on the year. He had a strip sack of Derek Carr that really turned the momentum of the game. The Jesse Bates, Awuzie, Kendall Hinton.
Dude, Eli Apple is on the field for the Cincinnati Bengals.
He makes a big play, too.
He does. All the quarterbacks have played well. The secondary's played well for Cincy. They have just been a huge surprise this year, and they have the talent to really – they're going to be here for the next 5-6 years with this group. And just quickly on the Raiders, good effort.
Hold on. We'll get to the Raiders in a second because I do want to talk a couple of things on the Raiders.
Okay, yep. Then, Alex, you can take it.
Dan? Sorry. Alex, go ahead.
It's okay. When you really look at this Bengals team, and, I was one of the guys who doubted them when they drafted Jamar Chase. I knew he would be explosive, but, the offensive line has proven to be shaky. Burrow gets sacked 51 times this year, and we have seen it. But to me, this game, I was really expecting it to be more of Mixon's game, especially the last time they played him. And Raiders defense I believe they ranked 19th or 20th in the league in fewest rushing yards allowed. They really have struggled against the run. And I was expecting this to be Mixon's game, but Joe Burrow, these past 5 games that he's played, including yesterday and the last 4 times he's played in the regular season, he has, I think, 13 touchdowns and 0 picks. He's completed around 75% of his passes. He is playing like a seasoned vet right now in only his second year. And yesterday, what I loved is he made the smartest decisions possible. He scanned the field, and Jamar Chase was involved, but I thought Uzomah was one of their biggest weaknesses. Joe Burrow made him one of the best parts of yesterday's game. And when you really watch it, Joe Burrow stepped up and showed the league why he's the next superstar. And I really love what I saw from that offense. And the defense, the one thing that worried me was second half, when no huddle was happening, they really were letting the plays blow up. And you saw guys like Darren Waller get open for that 3rd and 17 grab, which, that shouldn't happen. That really shouldn't happen. And that Bengals defense, I like what they've done this year, but that secondary needs to lock it down second half of games, because that's what could cost them next week.
Alex, I want to throw you a quick question because it's something you said.
Mhm.
You said that Joe Burrow has made CJ Uzma. Would you say that's the same case for Dak Prescott and Dalton Schultz?
Absolutely. I think Dalton Schultz has talent, but when I really look at it, Dak knows what to do out there. Dak is also, to me, one of the best quarterbacks of this league, and I'm happy he's had the year he's had. But, you know, Dalton Schultz, I think of anyone, like when I thought of tight ends on a team, Blake Jarwin actually has more talent than Dalton Schultz. But of course, Blake Jarwin has to deal with his own problems, and we all saw that. Dalton Schultz isn't as effective. Dak Prescott is what makes him that way.
Thank
Dan,
you.
your thoughts on the Bengals?
When I see how well the Bengals are progressing every week, it brings joy to my eyes because for my entire lifetime, the Bengals will always make the playoffs, but they would not win a game. And I was frustrated. I was getting frustrated for them. So seeing that was pretty cool. I mean, what Taylor has done with that team is just absolutely amazing. And obviously, most of that is Joe Burrow just doing Joe Burrow things. He's been terrific for them. He's been a great player for them. Great return they've gotten so far for Cincinnati. But this coaching staff has also been very terrific because it's not like look, you have a lot of good quality players on that team, but to turn them into this potential powerhouse in the NFL within a year, I mean, that's a pretty good sign for Cincinnati and a job well done. And the more you watch it, the more it's really exciting. And honestly, they may not win the Super Bowl this season. They may not even make it to the AFC Championship game, but don't sleep on them, man. Like they're really on fire. And look, you're going from division, now you're going to go to divisional round after that win against the Raiders. That's something to watch out for, really.
I want to say this about Joe Burrow because I think Joe Burrow is to Bengals fans what the Browns want Baker Mayfield to be.
Yes, 100%.
That assassin-like, just throw it with confidence, believe it. Don't just have the aura or talk about the aura of how you feel. Do it. Show it to us.
Yeah, and be ready for the moment. Really.
Right. And the moment wasn't too big for him. It wasn't too big for Jamar Chase. I mean, I know the dude has a TLC song named after him, but I mean, the dude he does everything right. Higgins is a stud. Tyler Boyd is really good. Uzama was great. Joe Mixon has his moments. I think he was second or third in the league in rushing this year. Defensively, I think Trey Hendrickson was the best free agent signing in the entire league. 15 sacks, and he has that clutch sack fumble yesterday on Derek Carr. They're not there yet, but they're close, man. And you don't want to play them. So whether you're Tennessee or you're KC, we'll talk about the Bills in a few minutes. That's the team I don't want to play.
No,
especially they're too dangerous.
And just they have such momentum right now because, I mean, that stadium yesterday was one of the loudest places I've ever heard in my life.
And coldest.
It was the jungle Axl Rose talks about in Welcome to the Jungle.
Oh, yeah.
That is the jungle.
But I think the big thing that you mentioned, Mike, that's really going to help the Bengals, for not even just this playoffs, but future is Burrow doesn't get starstruck in big moments. Nope. He can go. I guarantee he can go into a KC, he can go into a Tennessee, he can go into a Buffalo, and he'll put on performances like he did at home. He doesn't need to be home to put on performances like that, because that's what he did in college, and that's what he's done in the NFL since he arrived.
He is Joe Cool. I mean, you watched him yesterday. That's who he was. He was Joe Cool. Big situation.
But
I'll take care of it.
I also view him as someone that's not necessarily like closed off because he's very much active on the field and stuff, but very calm person. You know, again, not stressing too much on himself. He's just going out there and doing his job.
Yeah.
And when you're laser focused like that, that's a great sign. And I'm just gonna be real, like, you know, this is now a really dangerous team, Cincinnati, and you know, I'm just really thrilled for them. And you know, if Burrow can keep his cool and just stay the way he is, and you know, not do too much. And another thing, Cincinnati Bengals, you don't really hear much of them in the press. So this team is laser focused right now on their goals.
And one quick thing on Joe Burrow, that play
Yes.
where he was just about out of bounds, he wasn't nervous or anything. He was poised. He had his eyes set, and he knew where he was. Now, from the angle we all saw, I thought he was out of bounds. But when they re-showed it, I said, what? This is a second-year QB having people chasing him from behind and at the side, and had the time, poise, and patience to put that on the money to Tyler Boyd yesterday.
Now
Hats off to Joey B.
Now the referees, on the other hand, had different
Oh,
stories.
please.
That's a whole nother conversation.
Oh, please. No.
I mean, you want the best ones for the playoffs. That's a good job, NFL. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. All right, let's flip this to the Raiders for a second, because through all the turmoil that happened in the Raiders season, John Gruden to Henry Ruggs and everything in between, the Raiders found themselves in the playoffs. So there's going to be two parts to this question. Let's start with the first one. Alex, I'll come to you with it. Did Rich Bisaccia, I hope I say that right. If I'm not, I apologize.
You did.
Did he prove enough to be the Raiders head coach next season?
You know, I love what I saw from Rich Bisaccia's season. You know, after the whole situation with Gruden, Ruggs, Arnett, like, they really had a lot of adversity, and he really stepped up. But he's not that type of coach for them. He and even he has said it at times, he is that type of motivation factor for them. He's a hype man for them, and he really cares about his players. But, you know, when it comes to certain adjustments in game and certain situations, especially second half, which we saw yesterday, he does struggle. He does struggle coaching that team. And in reality, this year, their comeback, I felt, was more about Derek Carr leading them to the playoffs. If anything, he stepped it up big time for them. And I do respect Bisaccia and what he did, because, you know, any interim coach, you know, when you step up in a terrible situation like that, for what he accomplished is something that very few interim coaches can actually do, and that is turn around and make the playoffs. But yesterday showed that Bisaccia isn't just the NFL NFL caliber head coach, because, you know, when you spend 20 years as assistant head coach and as a special teams coordinator, you really shouldn't make that jump to being a head coach at all. And you need some more experience in my terms of, you know, being one of the offensive or defensive coordinators in terms of that. But I like what I saw from him, but no matter what, he hasn't really earned that head coaching job, because there's a lot of more confident, aggressive coaches out there that they need.
So I want to make this known, because I think this was reported yesterday. Derek Carr has 1 year left on his contract. And I believe the report said Derek Carr wants to be tied in with whoever the head coach is going to be. So depending on who it is, we may see Derek Carr's name